Hi, everyone.
Hi.
How you doing?
Hello. I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing all right. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Good.
Just getting through my Sunday.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's
Yeah.
about it. How are you doing?
Nice. I'm doing good, making reads, trying to at least.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good,
Well,
good, good, good.
yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Welcome to another episode of Meeting and Reading. My name is Logan Esterling, and my guest this week is Titus Underwood. He is the
Meet you all.
principal oboist, yeah, you too, of the Nashville Symphony, principal oboist, and he is also the 2021 recipient of the Sphinx Medal of Excellence. He's previously served as the acting associate principal of Utah Symphony, and he's played with many orchestras, including Pittsburgh Symphony, Miami Symphony, Florida Orchestra, Los Angeles Philharmonic, Atlanta Symphony, Puerto Rico Symphony, and San Diego Symphony. So thank you so much for joining me. It's
Thank
such an
you.
honor to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, of course.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right into it. I'm curious
Absolutely.
about kind of the cane brand that you use and your
hmm
gouge that you use.
All right, so the cane brand I use RGO. I've used a
Okay.
lot of different types of cane, but RGO
Mhm.
has been like my tried and true. Like I'm
Okay.
the type
Nice.
that show up to RDG and pluck through the cane. So
Nice.
sorry if I pick through the goods. I would sit there for
That's where it's
hours
all gone.
and that's
Yeah.
where it's all goes at my house. So you got to beat
Nice.
me there. So
All right.
yeah, I usually go there and pick up my cane most of the time. Of course, pre-pandemic, but
Yeah, yeah.
hopefully I'll be able to go there and start picking out cane soon. So yeah, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. Cool. I've bought in like processed cane from them, but never tube cane, so I'll have to try that out. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And my gouge use, oh, right, right. I didn't get to my gouge. So the gouge that I use is a Frillo gouge. I've been using
Okay.
Frillo gouge for a year. So I do the thing where I slightly pre-gouge on my inner lady to save my blade.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Don't tell John Frillo that.
I
But
won't.
anyways, the internet is forever. No, but
Yeah.
but then I gouge in my Frillo gouge, and it works out. It works out great, to be honest with you. It works out just
Nice.
fine. Yeah,
Nice. That's
yeah.
awesome. And have you always used the Ferrillo gouge?
Yes, I started undergrad. I used the inner gouge in
Hmm.
undergrad, and then that was like the first gouge I ever used was the inner gouge. First gouge I bought was an inner gouge.
Nice.
Then I switched to a Frillo gouge, and I've been using that ever since. It's just what I'm used to. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there are other gouges out there, and I'm sure, people sound beautiful on many different setups. So there is no one way or the highway, but I
Yeah.
tend to use a Frillo gouge. Yeah,
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah.
Cool. And what about staple and shape?
Staple and shape. So I use the Stevens number two thick wall 47 staples.
Nice. Okay.
I used to use Personi Artist 47, like the brass kind, because
Yeah.
it was just what I was comfortable on. But then for some reason, I felt like I was kind of fishing in the low register, like efficiency in the low register with that one.
Mm,
So,
okay.
and also just it kind of capped tonal production, and for me, so that's how I produce
Yeah.
sound. So I tried the Stevens thin wall. I used to play on Stevens thin wall in undergrad, and I love Stevens thin wall, but the thin walls, the new ones aren't, they are different for me than the thick walls for me. So the thick walls have been the more consistent for me recently. Shape that I use. So I use a Prestini too, like a
Okay.
really old school shape. And
Yeah. That's
I
awesome.
used to use I go between that and the Gilbert one, but
Okay.
I made a read on the Gilbert one that I may finish on here, and I have a Prestini shape that I may finish on. So it just depends. But the one, if I'm tying on something, shaping it, I shape it and start a read with the Prestini, and that's the one
Nice.
that I've been using most recently. So and for years, I've been using the
Nice.
Prestini too for at least 5 years now. Yeah,
Wow. Okay. Nice. And how
easily.
does that compare to the Gilbert one?
So I can show you what they look like.
Okay.
So this is the Prestini here.
Okay.
This is the Gilbert one. they're not
Okay.
that terribly different. I
Yeah.
mean, the Prestini is a little bit more parallel and flared slightly. The Gilbert more has a curve to it, but the Prestini has been great for me. I like the scale on it feels good on my instrument. I love the comfort of it. I mean, the biggest thing is when you hear a player on the reed, you hear the comfort of a player. That's what makes
Yeah.
them be able to express the way they want to express. Is literally the comfort of their playing. That their setup has them to be able to just vocalize through the reed.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
feeling and the way that it feels. Of course, I have many reed tests. I know we were talking about that, but just the comfort of it is a big deal for me. Like I
Yes.
need to feel like, okay, if I'm plucking this low E on Mahler 3, I'm not going to be, it's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm right into it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's great advice. Yeah. I love that. Cool. And is the Pristini still available anywhere?
It is. It's on
Okay.
PrestiniUSA.com. One of my
Okay.
friends, shout out to Kevin Pearl. I thought like Prestini was out of, like for a while, I didn't see it for a while.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they sell them online, the Prestini too. So you just go to Prestini, I think it's PrestiniUSA.com,
Okay.
and you can go in there and buy the Prestini too. I love the shape.
Nice.
And I
Yeah.
try my best to have it shaped as wide as possible, not
Yeah.
rocking it at all. Because when it
Yeah.
gets like that, it gets too narrow. It
Yeah.
gets too narrow. So I don't like to have I like to have some width to the reed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely go later tonight and grab one of those
Oh, for sure,
shapes.
for sure. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great shape. Nice,
Yeah.
even sound too. I love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So I'm curious a little bit about your process, remaking process.
Of course, of course. So, do you want me to do something like where I'm just making a read on, or we can talk to it, then I'll do a talk and explain, whatever you want to go, however
Sure,
you want to see it.
I would love to see what you're doing. That would be
All right.
awesome.
All right. So I'm gonna turn my camera towards and I have a cane that I just soaked up and I'm shaping and everything here, and then I do the time because the shaping is pretty quick process. So let me turn
Yeah,
this
yeah.
around. All right. So not my blinds, but I'm gonna turn it around. Actually, yeah, so I'll be able to see it on the live. One second. Let me just do this way. This is where it gets complicated, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
To get on my desk. All right. So, is that pretty clear?
Yeah, it's sideways, but I don't think that's a problem. Yeah, I think
All right.
that's I can still clear. Yeah, seems
All
good.
right. All right. Or I can make it where it's not. I guess I can try my best to make it where it's not sideways. Let me try this. So because on the live is only that's better, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just want to make sure it's not. So I have my cane here, and usually when I fold my cane, I don't use an easel. I just put my thumb in the place and then just let me know if I get off camera or something like that, so that everyone can
Okay.
see. So I usually put my thumb into place. Now, I just kind of put it there and I
Nice.
fold it down. So, I mean, I know a lot of people use the easel, but for me, the easel tends to like cut through the cane too much sometimes. I know
Yeah.
that you have to be you just literally marking it, but I've cut through so many pieces of cane, I was just like, screw it,
Yeah. Not
I'm
worth it.
just gonna
Yeah.
do them. Another thing that I do, so right after that, I just take a gem blade and I kind of narrow it just a little bit. I know some people do it differently. They take a whole thing and they file it down, but I just do the top. And it's worked
Nice.
perfectly fine for me. So I just do this until I know it's narrow enough to be able to set it on the shape. I mean, pretty standard stuff. My
Yeah, yeah.
Prestini. All right. Set on my Prestini. It's my first time making a read on Instagram Live here. Pressure's
Oh,
up.
that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it
Pressure's
is.
up, man. This thing better work.
Yeah. It's got to be
Mm,
the best read you've ever made. So,
Best read I
yeah.
ever made, right here.
Yeah.
This is it. I mean, I made sure I picked out a good piece of cane. So, but sometimes that
Nice.
can be deceiving at times. All right.
Yeah.
So then after that, I just kind of so I can keep my camera on what I'm doing. I'm gonna scoot in here. So I just put it against my sternum. Take a razor blade. I
Hmm.
usually use like the regular razor blades at like Home Depot for this. You don't want to
Nice.
use gem blades for shaping because these are for clipping.
Yeah.
And if you shape with these, the blade bends and it gets all frayed, and then the side of your shape is going to be frayed. So,
Yeah.
and just to let people know, just beginner tips, just make sure that the grains are lined up
Hmm.
down on both sides.
Nice.
So you want to make sure that you're shaping evenly. And when you're shaping on it, you don't want to be rocking it back and forth along the side. So I'm gonna try to get it in the camera as much as I can to shape. So I just go down it, squeeze it a little bit so I'm going against getting the true shape, you know, and a little bit there. So you see I'm not rocking it or anything like that because I'm trying to get the most true, widest version of the shape. Because the
Yeah.
press thing, it can come off a little narrow, and my Gilbert one is slightly narrow too. Um, which, I wish it was wider.
Yeah.
I think there's supposed to be a new one coming out soon that
Oh,
Ford is
really?
creating.
Yeah,
So
that's exciting.
that would be great.
Yeah.
Uh, but for now, the Prestini has been great, and I may stay with the Prestini. Who knows? But I've been
Nice.
with it for years. It's what's comfortable for me. So then after that, after you see it shaped, simply, now take it off of here. Um, and from there, take a razor blade, and from here, I take the ears off. Just go in, take the ears off, like right under there.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen them taken off this way. I'm gonna have to try this. I
Yeah,
usually
this one.
use my knife, but this looks interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very easy to take a very sharp razor blade and just go right under the ears. And be careful with this because you'll slide into the cane.
Yeah.
So, but it's the most precise way I can get it done. And it's a little part sticking up, and the razor blade is so sharp that I can be very precise with this. I'm still going to use the nail filer, right, to do
Yeah.
this. I'm still going to get it done that way.
Nice.
Um, and I'm just taking off a little bit of that excess there. Let's come over to the other side. Uh, Okay, now that that's done. Now, get my C clamp. As you can tell, I do not make reeds often. Uh, so, I need to cut that off, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
you get attached to it,
Oh
until
yeah.
it just becomes unbearable. And when you cut it off, it's like,
Yeah. No, I
no,
was I recently switched desks with my partner and he needed the desk for work and I was like so heartbroken because I had a huge amount on the leg of the desk and it was so
Yeah.
painful to cut it
You,
off, but
you get it. You
yeah.
really get attached to it. You really get attached to
Yeah.
it. So then I tie it on, like everyone else does. I do use beeswax. I know some people use nail
Mhm.
polish.
Mhm.
And that's fine, whatever your method is, just as long as it's not leaking or anything like that. So I'm gonna give it a little more angle and a little bit more distance, so I have a little more leeway to show.
Nice.
Then I just, wax up like very standard. Roll it back. I thought I had a staple out, but I don't have a staple out. So what I'm gonna do is put a reed in the reed grave.
Oh, nice.
You're gonna see me take care of Reed. So maybe this is the first time you've seen this on there. Ah! So that one's gone.
Goodbye.
So that Reed is gone. Bye bye, because it's no longer needs to be there anymore. So gonna unwind that. And as you can see, I'm using the Stevens too. That's clear.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Mandrel I use Pisoni because I've been using Pisoni for a long time. Make sure that it fits, towards the top. It's not going over or too far under anything like that. Um, After that, no, let me grab a pencil so I can mark the side. And I do quite a bit of measuring with my reeds, as you will see.
Nice.
I'm kind of like a robot when it comes to making reeds because
Yeah.
I like to try to produce the same thing as often as possible.
Yeah.
So I tie my reeds at 73.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just measure this. This is about 74, 73. Okay, we're basically at 73 now. Like everyone else. Take them on the side, marking on the side,
Mhm.
and then make sure it's straight on there. You can see this we're still in the camera.
Yes. Yeah.
Great. So then from there, just make sure that it's even, and then, I want to line this up with my mandrel, right? So I'm going to wind this up now that my sides are closing pretty evenly, but they're not fully closed. I wound it up about 3 times. Sometimes a fourth, feel like I needed one more crossover. And then from here, I measure it again. So I check it again just to make sure
Yeah.
um, that I'm not overtying it. So I am slightly overtying it, ever so slightly, just a little bit. So that fourth one that I put on there probably didn't need it. So I'm gonna do this, wind over, all right, and then I'm gonna measure it just to make sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna double check. No, not too. I'd rather be slightly under than slightly over.
Yeah.
All right, that's just about right. Okay, make sure there are no gaps here. Make sure that's evenly closing. All right, then I'm gonna just wind it down. All right, and I'm gonna talk about basically what my process is, because we have to remember that we make the read from the top down. Always
Yeah.
remember that. So many students fall into the category of scraping for tone. And you
Right.
asked me what was the one piece, I saw in the question, what piece of advice did John Mack give me? Response over tone. Response
Nice.
comes first. The thing needs to make sound before anything else. You will, if the read is balanced from the top down, you will get the depth that you desire. You don't want to go scraping in the back right away. And I'm going to show you how I can, I'm attempting my best way to have this read be basically playable without established window area
Nice.
or channels. That I
Yeah.
want it to be that balanced at first. So from there I take one of these just nail filers,
Mm.
and then I file down on the side a little bit. I'm just trying to even out those ears, right? I took that the razor blade could only get so much, you know,
Right.
and I'm probably going to take a little bit more once I cut it open because there's some ears on the inside as well. Now from here it's something I probably do different from some people. I've seen some people do it, but I measure where the base of my tip is, and I also measure where the bottom of my plateau is. So I take
Nice.
it and I measured at 68. So I go here and I just mark 68 right
And you
there.
do this
And
every time you make a read?
every read, 61 right here.
Awesome.
So it can flex a little bit out of that, but you want to give yourself some guidelines. I understand making reads by eye. I get that. But I mean, the world is made up in numbers and measurements. There's a reason why your
Yeah.
gouge has measurements. And I think and I believe different reads have different lengths, right? I do believe in that. However, I also believe that if you're making a read and it goes beyond the wrong boundaries, you're creating a different shape. There's an
Yeah.
optimal place where the shape should be. There's a reason why they've taken years to make these dimensions of the shaper tip. Because there's an optimal place where there's an optimal range rather. So
Yeah.
if this was ends at, if I tied it at 73 and it ends at, 68, that's a different shape. My
Yeah.
finished
Yeah.
product is usually about 71. So I
Okay.
plan on a slightly longer setup because I mean, I have thicker lips. I don't like when the reed's too small, it just feels as though I don't even have a reed in my mouth.
Yeah.
So, going here and I'm just scraping across the cane,
Mm.
you know, just taking off the bark. And I'm pushing more forward with my left thumb. I'm not bearing down. I'm putting the knife down. It catches. I push it forward. Putting the knife down, catches, move it forward. Let me put some more light on my reed.
Oh, that's good.
So
Yeah.
now I'm just moving it forward. All right. So I don't mind going kind of like windshield wipers across it right now because that center is going to be super thick anyways.
Yeah.
Then I go on this other side, do this. And make sure you're not scraping too hard because you can take corners off easily with that.
Yeah.
Next thing I'm going to do, and make sure you're not pressing because you can really mess up the overlap with that. I'm going to just do long scrapes from here,
Okay.
right across the cane, all the way across. And make sure you're not doing this. You're going across like a snow plow. I'm trying to keep it, and make sure and remember, the way your reads are only as good as the mental state you come with at the read desk. make sure that
Nice.
you're not coming in here like trying or this better be the best read ever. Like that's too much pressure. And
Yeah.
we're very precious where we dust them off and stuff like that. And but you just want to scrape across it. See, I'm not getting any catches because I'm just scraping right across the cane. We're gonna have a nice, you know, even scrape, especially when it
Nice.
comes to the plateau. We'll just
And
scrape
where are
left.
you starting that scrape?
So I'm starting to scrape. Basically, this is what actually do by eye, just like a little bit,
Okay.
a couple, millimeters above the thread,
Nice.
2-3 millimeters above the thread, probably. Sometimes I start a little bit higher. I've been trying to make my reeds a little bit higher,
Mhm.
and this just kind of depends on the shape that you use. I know some people's reeds kind of way up here and there. It depends on the person. Depends on what
Yeah.
feels comfortable for you. And most people's reeds that I try, it feels like a reed I can play on. That's had become pretty efficient at making reeds. So from here, I go from using my furlough knife to using one of my double hollow ground knives that I have here.
Nice.
Okay, that feels nice and sharp. So going right across, and you want to have curlies, not fuzzies. When you're
I
going
like
across the
that.
cane,
Yeah.
curlies, not fuzzies. Those fuzzies means your knife is dull.
Okay.
So you don't you a sharp knife goes a long way. I'm just placing it down to going across. And your cane should have kind of a sheen on it, like a nice shine on it. That's when you know you're not pressing and your knife is sharp. I remember the first time I saw Frank Rose when I make reeds, I was like, your reeds are so shiny.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, my knife's sharp. And he has such an elegant scrape. So you want to have an elegance to your scrape, not a hacking, not a trying, an
Yeah.
elegance to your scrape. Then from there, I'm going to go right here, take some more off of the. Be very careful when those catches happen because that's very easy when it happens towards the end. You don't want to over scrape that because you have a bunch of chip edges when you're done with the
Mm,
reed. When you scrape it open or clip it open rather. Right, I'm
mm,
just placing the knife. And here's a very important thing I want to do to the people who are looking is you want to place the knife and move it forward, especially at the base of the tip. The more you flex backwards, the more you're going to move the tip backwards.
mm.
So you don't want to be doing, you want to have a good scraping technique. I can't stress this enough. You place it, you move it forward. Wherever place is in, it goes forward. The burr is facing this way. So you're not, the only thing you're doing is just blurring what you scraped before. If you need to scrape further back, you move it a little bit further back. All right. So
Nice. Yeah.
I place it, I move it forward. I place it, I move it forward. And of course, there's a little bit more, um, flexing area in the tip. There's a little bit more fine detail, finer movements. But at the same time, I'm moving it forward. And that's the thing I want to think of when I'm scraping the tip. All right. And I use different glasses when I scrape as well. Right now, I have my regular glasses because I can see depth. When I put on my reading glasses, I can't really see. I can see it very close, but I can't see the proper proportions. And sometimes I make the tip and the harp a little bit too precipitous at times
Gotcha.
when I'm looking too close at it and I can't
Mm,
get a real clear view. So I scrape my tip and my heart in tandem with one another. They have to vibrate as one. You don't
yeah.
want to start creating a reed is a balance between flexibility and stability, blend and definition, right? So I'm just going to my spine seems a little thick there as far as the width of it. So from here, I'm scraping down just a little bit more, and I take my time when I make my reeds. I'm not the type to I'm make my reeds fast as I can. I mean, what's the
Yeah.
point in that? What you rushing towards?
Yeah.
You have to have the ability to make a read quickly, but John Mack also said a read a day keeps the psychiatrist away. So just make a read a
Yes.
day. You won't
Yeah.
have so much pressure on yourself. Oh, I'm gonna make a read. Just
Yeah.
sit down, one scrape at a time, just like with music, one phrase at a time is the only thing you have control over.
Yeah.
One scrape at a time is all you have control over in each quadrant. So I just kind of take my time and enjoy the process of making the reed. Now from
Yeah.
there, I am definitely like a new blade junkie with this. You might see me take out like 3 new blades, and Jim Blade's stock has probably gone up single-handedly
Yeah.
for me. So
I
see,
love that.
I see a little bit of ear still on there. So I'm gonna
Mm,
just because it's thinner, it's gonna be a little easier to get rid of that. But I'm being really careful because then you'll really kind of fray your tip and mess it up. So I'm just clip it. I mean, not really making this sound. I have on these headphones. So I might take one ear off just to see if it buzzes slightly. All right, so from there, I've cut it open, set my overlap. Yeah, looks good. Seals. Doesn't vibrate at all right now. That's fine. I don't want it to be super vibrant right now. So from there, I'm checking to see how tight my sides are. Nice and tight. Barely can get in there. So that's good.
Nice.
So from there, and this is another thing that I do. The very center of my plateau is usually at 50. Right now it's super thick. So that's measuring about, I don't know, 55, something like that. And let me see what the other side is measuring. Same. Super thick.
Nice.
I'd rather be a little bit, you can't put cane on, but you can take cane off. So remember, be wise with your scrape. Be intentional with your scrape. So I'm just go down the center and take a few more scrapes off. This is going to free up the vibration. Because if I start scraping the tip while that is way too thick, I'm not going to get a real proper calculation of how thin my tip should be. Yes, you should have a very thin tip, but you can scrape your tip down to an extreme weak state that it doesn't really vibrate the way you want it to. So that's still very thick. Let me see how thick it is. I'm measuring again. I'm being very careful about that. Okay, taking a little by little. Okay, that's around 50. So now that's at 50 there in the center, and the other side is still about 54-ish. Okay, 51 or something like that. All right. Now from here, I'm gonna scrape it a little bit, just a little bit, and now I'm gonna put my plaque in, and I'm gonna start scraping my tip. The thing I'm going for now is maximum vibration. Maximum vibration. I'm trying to see how much vibration can I get out of this piece of cane. Then I dumb it down. I'm just trying to get octave C's on this thing. Like right now, not octave C's, but a crazy crow. And then I clip it into octave C's.
Angela commented, yes, I have totally overscraped my tips and made them too thin and weak. I
Yes.
also relate. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, you have to make your heart and your tip in tandem with one another. I'm not saying just bearing down on the heart a bunch, but you go across it lightly, and I go into the tip. And I make these together because they have to vibrate together. Your reed shouldn't feel like different sections of things.
Yeah.
So I'm just going across the cane. A little bit here. And just keep on bringing it down some. All the way off into the plate. And I'm going across the edge here because it's so thick. I don't scrape across the center like this when it's thin because it gives it kind of a weird tone. But when at the beginning, I don't mind doing that a little bit. And I'm staying within the boundaries of where I marked it. Sometimes I go a little bit lower. Often I go a little bit lower than where the marking is, but that's fine. But I know not to go far from that, right?
Yeah.
You have to have some structure in which you're making the read. Okay. I'm still scraping here. All the way off into the black. All the way off into the black. Okay, and now that's pretty thin. Just pretty thin. It's not as thin as I want it to be yet. But I don't want the other side to be so thick. I want to be scraping them together in a sense.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to the other side doing the same exact thing. Knife is angled to make sure I'm hitting that rooftop. All the way off into the edge. Remember, keep your scrape elegant.
Yeah, I love
Keep
that. I
your,
want to write that above my read desk.
yeah.
A nice quote.
Because you can get pretty bogged down in tunnel vision. I mean, you're looking at this little tiny thing, you're hunched over the desk, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's uncomfortable at times. So you want to keep yourself in a positive state of mind when you're making reads. Sharp knives, elegant scrape, not getting stressed about it, not thinking about the next whatever recital or lesson you have to play. Being in the moment while you're scraping the reed. I'm just making the read. That's all I'm doing. That's what all I have control over at the moment. So I'm still scraping the heart in tandem with my tip. Okay. Still bringing it down. It's a very dense piece of cane here. It's good. It may take a little time to break it in, but
Yeah.
it's gonna last a while.
And what is your like break-in process?
So my break-in process is usually I try to make the read over a course of 3 days.
Okay.
Now it's starting to vibrate slowly but sure, but it's definitely not where I want it to be yet. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
take another knife. I usually have several sharp knives on my desk. I always
Nice.
sharpen my knives at the end of the day.
Oh, I
At the
love
end of
that.
my at the end, it's like a chef, they sharpen their knives, then they put them away.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great like habit to get into.
Yeah, so you're not coming over. You got to sharpen your knives, and So see, this one super feels great. Curlies, not fuzzies.
Yeah. That's another quote going up on my wall.
Mm. So they have these nice little curlies coming off here. I'm just trying to get. And I'm not going for like extreme definition. I'm just establishing where my tip begins.
Mhm.
Of course, we know where it ends, where the reed is no more. But I'm just establishing just a little bit. Heart
Angela
and t
said, going to order a poster that says, make the heart in tandem with the tip.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you must do that. Right now, I'm just trying to have everything, you know, nice and proportioned. And you see, I still haven't scraped in the back. I'm not concerned with the
Yeah.
back right now. That's an extension of the reed. That's an extension. You don't want the reed just be vibrating in the back. Most students, I need a dark tone. I mean,
Yeah.
take it from the top down. The tone originates from the top. So I understand you want that nice, rich sound, but it starts from the top.
Yeah.
It's got to vibrate first. So right now I'm just still just bringing it down, bringing it down still. And that heart still is a little thick. Okay, take this down. And I'm not over scraping or creating like channels within my plateau at all. I don't want people to get mistaken by that.
Mm.
They're not channels I'm putting into the not at all. I'm bringing it down, mirroring the gouts. The thickest part is the center, and the other sides can be thinner along the sides of the heart. Just bringing it down all the way off into the plaque. This knife feels good today. Thank you for behaving yourself on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
What kind of knives are you using?
I'm using a Chudnow knife. I really like it. I like the Chudnow knives and the Rigati knives.
Okay.
Now I also have like this weird razor blade thing that Pedro Diaz put me on to. It's
Oh,
great.
nice.
Yeah. You hear that? Now it's vibrating.
Yeah.
I wanted to have that crazy crow at first.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I want. So right now I can show people what it looks like. So this is what I have right now. Just kind of a tip and no back. Openings nice and healthy. Okay. Nice and
Nice.
healthy. Let me get that focus. And I'm still going to scrape it down a little bit. I still feel like I'm going to scrape it right in the lamp because I feel like the that heart area that spine is still a little thick for my taste.
Okay.
Uh, just take that down. Just especially on one side is quite thick. And I'm going to go down the sides of the tip. So I'm trying to get that maximum vibration right now. Just I'm going for response and vibration right now. That's it. Let me see how it closes on the plaque. Okay, it's closing pretty evenly. One side's a little thicker than the other, but I can take that down because I see some bark on one side.
Nice. Yeah, it's amazingly vibrant for, how much you've scraped so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go all the way down and because I'm just going right across the cane.
Hmm.
So every scrape means something. I'm trying to have a meaningful scrape in each one of these scrapes. So take it all the way down. Now this is the time when I put on my. See how much that's vibrating like a little bit like crazy now. That's what I want. And when I clip it,
Yeah.
it's going to crow seed. So I'm putting my Harry Potter glasses down
Yeah.
and put on these I just get these magnifiers straight from Walmart, Target, with Walgreens, place like that.
Nice.
Um, so the size of my tip, like I said, the base of the size of my tip is a little thick. There's some darkness going on there. So and you want it to close like curtains. When you push the tip
Hmm.
back, you want it to close like curtains. So this is kind of closing like curtains. You see
Yeah.
that?
Nice.
Like
Yeah.
it folds in. And that means that my scrape is nice and even. Naturally, it's going to be thinner on the sides and thicker in the middle. And you want the opening in the reed the reason why you want that, because when you put your embouchure and your corners on it, when you put a little pressure on the reed, I play with very little pressure, but there always is pressure to the reed. You want it to close towards the center.
Yeah.
So it's mirroring the aperture. The aperture is also mirroring the aperture that you form with your embouchure.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have an embouchure on a reed that has to make the sound. The embouchure shapes the sound. And you have to have a reed that can complement the embouchure shaping the sound, not making the sound. The support makes the sound. The air makes the sound. The embouchure is the last channel that your air comes through. It's not the first. It's not a
Yeah.
face instrument, it's a wind instrument.
I love that.
So I'm still making a heart, tipping down one another, dusting the heart, bringing this down, going down the sides, make sure it closes like curtains, and just going all the way off on the edge of the tip. And what I usually do at this point, once I get it down, because it's still quite thick, I'll show you. Okay. At this point, it looks pretty nice. It's pretty nice, would I
Yeah.
say? Uh, so let's go in here. And scraping it down. You hear that click? I don't like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that click to be gone. So what I do is I take my super razor knife. This is just an old German razor blade that I put in a handle.
Oh,
So
nice.
as you can
Yeah.
see,
That's
general
awesome.
tool handle, and I put in there, and this is a really sharp edge. I can get the really edge of that and get it nice and thin. I'm
Yeah.
careful with this because I could nick the tip with this.
Yeah. I have a similar sort of little handle and razor blade situation going on.
Yep, it's great, and it's great for
Yeah.
smoothing out that transition a little bit more when you need that. Right on the edge here. You don't want a bunch, and you want that S curve, right? You don't want a big, thick spine going through your tip. People think that gives them a dark sound, gives you a false sound.
Mm,
You actually want to get more depth when you have the S curve
nice.
if you're looking from the side profile. So, okay, let's see how this thing vibrates. Now, this should have some good vibration. That's by the way that I see the way that it looks. So I'm gonna show everybody what this looks like. I'll take off these glasses because I cannot see when I look up those glasses. Put these handy boys back on, and then this is what it looks like now. So I'm gonna put it in the light so everyone can kind of see it in the light. My nice and neat reed desk, right? So as you can see, it's just a tip,
Nice.
a little bit of rooftop. If I do it upside down, it makes the rooftop a little more clear.
Yeah.
Let me do this. A second. Let me illuminate it. As you can see,
There we go. Nice. Yeah.
turn to the other side. Same thing. You know, and this now you can really see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
now
Yeah.
I'm gonna crow it. That's exactly what I want. I want a rattle crow. Now what I'm gonna go from here, I'm gonna take another fresh gem blade. You're welcome, gem blades. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna clip this until it crows octave C's at an angle. See how that's coming together? It sounds a little
Yeah.
weak right now. That has 2 octaves in it. No back.
Nice.
Closes nicely. See, there's a nice opening. Closes symmetrically. Aspirated attack. So let me try. I'm gonna just put in the oboe to show people that it plays.
Awesome.
It's not a finished read, but I'm gonna it's the tone isn't exactly where I want it to be, of course, but and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clip it even more because it's a little long in length for me, and I may get even a nicer tone from it, from just clipping a little bit of that tippiness out of it.
Nice.
Okay. And what I'm gonna do with this, I'm just gonna try to pluck a high C out of the air. And that lets me know if I can pluck a high C out of the air like that, then my tip is thin enough.
Hmm.
It's kind of, if I'll come on camera, as you can see, it's kind of a read already. It's
Yeah.
not done. The read by no stretch of the imagination is done yet, but it's kind of a read. And this is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the point across. And I'm going to start taking out the back and stuff like that. And I'll show people my finished read looks like as well. But the key thing I'm trying to drive home here is from the top down. I'm going to get the tone that I desire from it, right? I'm going to get the
Yeah.
tone that I really, really like. But at the same time, I'm just going for, does it function? Does it speak? What's in there? Does it vibrate? There's a
Nice.
decent tone inside the read.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it already sounds great. Yeah.
so what I'm going to do is from there, I am going to start taking and making it back to the read. So now we're going to start getting into some more refining things with the read, right? Let me make sure it's straight again because I know that it's easier that way. So I'm still good on camera here. Sometimes I'll be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's good.
all right. So I'm going to start putting in the back on here. And like I said, you see I have these guiding lines on the side of my reed. Let me just bring it in. So I have these little dot, one is here, and then one is there. So I'm just going to scrape up into that point. I'm not going to go beyond it because sometimes people's, channels are too long.
Yeah.
Scraping there. Just putting in the back now. And that's going to make the opening come together a lot better too. It's not going to be
You're a little
so.
off camera right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Let me
there we go.
center here.
Perfect.
All right. There we go. Curlies. I'm placing it, going forward. As you see, I'm just going right across the cane. Not pressing it. You definitely want a sharp knife in the back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a very delicate, thin area. We think we could just butcher the back and just hack it back there, but then
Yeah.
you want to bring the tone out of the reed. You don't want to press a tone into the reed. It doesn't work that way.
Mm. Yeah.
Allow it to be what it is. Okay, then go to the other side, same thing.
And do you keep the trend, like the kind of blend between the back and the plateau pretty smooth?
Not too smooth. I definitely have a
Okay.
differentiation between the two, but it's not
Okay.
like a drop off.
Okay.
But I want to have a clear, I want to have it clear, but not like I said, a balance between definition and blend.
Nice.
Just like a reed is stability and flexibility. So I'm just kind of guided by my philosophy how I want the read to feel. Also kind of guides me how I want it to look. Combination blend and definition. Right now I'm creating some definition. It's still quite blended, but I'm just going in the back and bringing out. And I know how much I need to scrape out the back and stay within those rails too, because a lot of people out like scrape their rails out.
Okay.
And I also look and see if there's any raised things at the top of the, because sometimes the back of my heart area can be raised.
Yeah, yeah.
So I make sure that that's flat. My side profile needs to be, you know, it needs to be kind of straight and then it has an S curve,
Nice. Yeah, I
not
have
a
to
ramp.
revisit that like back of the plateau area as well. Kind of builds
Yeah.
up sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want it to be a ramp. I know, because
Yeah.
it's just gonna get more and more resistant as you let me bring this camera out some so I have more leeway to scrape. This is better?
Nice. Yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm just scraping it down and I'm gonna put more out of that right there. I'm gonna see how it's feeling now. But see, the crow is getting more dolce. What
Yeah.
I'm doing is I'm just dumbing down what I've already created from the top. So the crows is a little bit higher than I want it to be, but that's fine because there's more cane on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm gonna take another knife which I sharpen, and I'm just gonna take that because I have about 7 knives here on my desk
Wow.
that are sharp. I don't like to sharpen a lot when I'm making reeds. I just like to
Yeah.
grab knives.
Are you on
And
your fourth one now?
yes, I'm on my fourth one now.
Okay.
Yeah. And some people like to resharpen. I don't like to do that. That's me. I would just like to have a fresh knife, take it out, and I'm still working on the back a little bit. I'm just trying to bring it down a little bit to where I can see by eye that I've scraped enough. But I'm not trying to finish the back by no means right now. I'm just trying to establish it. Okay, now that I feel like I have more of an established back, I'm going to measure and see how long this reed is. Just
Okay.
to see what ballpark I'm in. So I'm off a little off camera there because I'm just trying to hold up to the lamp and get some of that spine thinned out. And some things I only see within the lamp. Um,
Yeah.
so so let me see how long it is because the length definitely affects the tone.
Angela said, "Take a drink every time he switches knives." Lol. I love
Oh man,
that.
that's funny. We'll have a good time during our Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Tell me what type of drinks you have. All right, so I'm basically a little bit over 71. I'm about 71 and a half, basically. That's about what I wanted to be, so I have a little more clipping room. I mean, this read is almost done. I'm like, yay! Nothing's better than, you know.
Yeah.
I love when I'm teaching and making reads because it makes making a lot more fun.
Yes,
Because
I
if
totally
I'm
agree.
just
Yeah.
sitting here and I'm trying to figure out what to listen to, and I gotta take the headphones off and I'm trying to read, and
Yeah.
or they say the TV show depend on how good it is. Whether if the more you look up at the screen, depend on how good the show is. The more you're looking at the read, so how boring
Yeah.
the show is.
Yeah.
So I'm going to now that I can see there's still a little bit of too much uh, separation between my shoulders here.
Hmm.
I don't do this until the end, just somewhat towards the end. And so I'm gonna put on my other glasses. I'm just gonna kind of go on the sides there, just a little bit, not taking off all that bark on the side, and kind of going on the edge of the tip. Now I'm doing the sides of the tip again. I'm refining now. Base of the tip, make sure I have some clear. That's where I get that kind of good articulation from, base of the tip. And it's important to know why to scrape a place.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going backwards. I'm just putting it down and moving it forward. I'm kind of really getting in there right now. And I may make it have too much definition right here, but I'm going to smooth that over. But it's good to not do that too early in the process.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the key. Okay, so all the way off. All right, so that's not closing my curtains the way I want. So it's over here, same thing. Same exact thing.
Actually, something you said earlier, kind of related to one of our submitted questions, which was someone was having issues getting the bottom octave in, and they were asking, when do you go for that?
Oh, at the
Like
beginning, as soon
towards,
as I get the rattle
yeah,
and crow and clip it,
yeah, definitely. I totally agree. I think that's
I'm gonna get
the
octave
way to get
C.
it in.
Yeah, you don't want
Yeah,
to be scraping the back like crazy trying to get in a low crow.
yeah.
That means you've over scraped from at some place. And this reed is coming together quite nicely. Hopefully, it sounds as good as it looks. But sometimes they can be deceiving.
Yeah,
Good looks, rotten reed, rotten to the
yeah.
soul. It deceived my eyes. Okay, so I'm going. This side of the tip is still thick. I don't like how thick it is. I'm gonna just take it down. Mm, Same thing. I kind of score a little bit at the base of my tip. And
Okay.
that kind of trick from Dubai. Score, but very lightly.
What do you mean by that?
Just going across it and marking it, and then clearing out while I
Nice.
mark it. So cross, clean it out. But don't saw there because you'll weaken your tip.
Okay.
You'll have a thin spot which weakens the tip and weakens the reed greatly. Clicking sound going off the end. I'm just trying to mirror each side, make sure they look nice. Same way. And you got to really get that shoulder around to get this angle here because a lot of times this side doesn't look as good as your right side for those who are right-handed scrapers. Got to really get around there and make sure you're not getting any catches there. Going all the way out to the edge. Okay. A little bit on my shoulders. Okay. There we go. We're going to see how this plays. I'm just cleaning it up. I'm going by how it looks first.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good. A little tippy. But the good thing is I'm gonna start from a dolce quiet place.
Mm.
You don't want to read that it's a mezzo forte and
Yeah.
then you have to squeeze it down to a piano. A piano is not an inconvenienced forte or mezzo forte. A piano is where the sound originates. The tone is a
Nice.
magnified piano sound. Same thing with your low register. It's not an inconvenience of your middle register. You want to
Yeah.
be able to pluck all those notes out comfortably and play the full oboe.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm just going to right there at the shoulder and there's a little thickness there. Just taking it out. No thickness there.
Yeah. I always think about extending the depth, of the lower notes on the oboe through the
Yep.
rest of the oboe.
Yep. You build the tone from the bottom up. That's exactly right. So now I can show people what this reed looks like. So I'm gonna backlight it,
Nice. Oh wow, it's beautiful.
and this is what it looks like. So, and I'm gonna clip it because the tip is a little long. Exactly what I want. And I get nervous about clipping my reed here with the same blades. I'm just like, is it sharp enough? This one feels sharp enough.
Right.
I think I'm gonna keep this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So if it gives me any resistance, it's got to go.
Yeah.
It's gonna go into my graveyard and I'll show you my graveyard of razor blades. Okay, this one's still nice and still tippy, still tippy. Take it off, and of course I'm gonna revisit this reed tomorrow and refine it because there's only so much refinement you can do. I want to clip it just a little bit more because it feels like slightly out of, I mean, ever so slightly out of bounds. And I like to, when I do these last clip, I put on my reading glasses as well, because just with my eyes, I need to be able to see
Nice.
the clip. Because I want to get a real baby clip, make sure this thing is nice and symmetrical. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay. Make sure. All right. So now this clip, I'm going to try it. Let's see where it's at. So it plays. It's a read.
Yeah.
Not exactly what I will still play some scales on it, things like that. There's some things some inconsistencies I feel about it, but it's in the ballpark of being like a read. So I'm gonna try aspirating the high C. I'm gonna try aspirating the low D. Little bump there. I don't like that, so I'll take that out. I'm gonna try the A to the G to see where the depth is at. And let me just put my headphone off a little more so I can really get the sound. So you hear that the reed is in tune with itself.
Yeah.
It's in tune with itself. And what I'm going to do here, just before I put this reed up that I've started, as you saw my starting process, I'm going to try it on the plaque test, make sure it closes even. I'm going to even out that closing. And what I mean by the plaque test, I just take it and let me get this right. It's always like, oh, I'm backwards. I just close it on the plaque to see where it, oh my God, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
And see how it's closing. So right now,
Yeah.
one side is kind of closing a little earlier than another. So I'm just take care of that to make sure it symmetrically closes. Let me put this reed away.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds gorgeous already. So
Thank you. I'm
yeah.
put it away and be like, okay, I'll put scales on you later tonight or something like that. But you've done your due diligence.
Yeah.
May clip it one more time because it still feels slightly tippy to me. And it may still be quite long in length, but that's okay. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. So, let me see here. Still dusting this tip off. Like I said, when that low D, tried to pluck that out. It wasn't quite speaking the way I wanted it to. Also, you don't want the cane to be too over soaked.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do to read. It starts to get slightly grainy when I've probably been going at this read for a solid almost an hour now. So, I want to have that type of dolce to it.
Yeah.
Like, have a low crow, nice aspirated time. I'm going to see what it sounds like before I clip it. So I want to be able to play on that soft end of the spectrum because I can play louder. It isn't, put more air into it, more support, but I'm not going to, trying to play as loud as I can. I want to be really thoughtful about. Yeah, I'm gonna get another raise today. I'm gonna. I don't trust that. I don't trust it. All right, so now I'm gonna clip this.
Isaiah said, "Wow, sounds beautiful. It's great to see you, Mr. Underwood."
Thank you, Isaiah. I met Isaiah, a young, promising, great oboe player.
He's great. Yeah, I've heard him in a couple master classes.
NYO2 is upcoming star there. Um, let me just, I'm just barely clipping it here. Now we have octave crows, and it still feels a little bit up, but it's because it's been soaked a long time, and you don't want to
Mhm.
overdo it. And I know when to stop.
Yeah.
You see, it's aspirating that low D now.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna turn this around. You see, it's really starting to really function like a reed now. So now that
Yeah.
I have a real reed, and I made it. You saw me shape it, saw me tie it on. I didn't do any
Yeah.
sleight of hand and switch a reed
Yeah.
out of the case. But I'm
Yeah.
really, I have it here and I've built it from the top down. And
Nice.
every time I do that process, and the good thing is like kind of having your feet to the fire when you're doing a read,
Mm.
on Instagram Live, on
Yeah.
Zoom, whatever. You
Yeah.
have to do it right. I can be like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I can't go off the rails here. So this is, I mean, as you can see, the read is pretty much done. Maybe I'll send a picture or something so you can post to people like
Yeah.
this what his read looks like, the read that
That'd
I
be
made
great.
on there.
Yeah.
And I try, just see if it's articulating. Still needs more depth to it. So,
Yeah.
I try for things like that. Like, oh, can it play the scale, say something like that? And it feels a little bit up, but it's a little bit over
Yeah.
soaked. And I'll bring it down, 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 right, as it comes together. But this is a completely new read.
Yeah.
Pretty much done. The only thing I need to do is let it rest in the case. And then after I let it rest in the case, I'm going to then bring it down, put more depth in it. It's a process. So I'm going to be patient with the process. And that's why I have reads on rotation. So
Yeah.
I'm not just, panicking at all or anything
Yeah.
of that sort. So this is a read right here, made on Instagram Live. And
Nice.
and I let me try to get just a good clear behind like a back. I'm sorry, that's a little bright,
That's great.
but
Yeah. Nice.
a backlit view of this read. Let me bring this down so the light won't wash it out too much. So I might take that spine down a little bit. It seems a little thickish for me.
Mm.
That's fine. You can always take more off, you know. So just trying to have it as a nice structure to it. If
Yeah.
I'm turning up this way so you can really see how it looks.
Nice. Yeah.
You
I
get what I'm
like the
saying?
length of your plateau.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to have a good length to the plateau because once the plateau gets short, the channels get too long. And then when the channels get too long, it starts sounding like kind of weird and wonky, and it's not going to be as in tune.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Nice.
I'd rather have a nicely scraped, even plateau that I've worked on than having something that's like short and thick. You want to have something that's a
Yeah.
little bit longer, a little bit, but more even. So there's some things I want to correct on the read, but because I've been scraping on it for a while, sorry, because I've been scraping on it for a while, I'm going to put it in the case and see where it goes. Because like I'm gonna put over here my other reads that are not finished. But that's usually my process, how I get a
Nice.
read going. And if I had a finished read, did I try? Is this read done? Let me see. And this probably been in the case for a little dry, but that's a done read. That's something that's
Nice.
balanced, full sound,
Yeah.
has all the articulation things, spectrum, life and depth to the tone, good ease of sound. I can easily pluck out a pianissimo. And I just
Yeah.
want to make it really clear to the people that are on it, like, response over tone. Don't start scraping the back and doing all this crazy stuff. Have a sharp knife. Have an elegant scrape. Don't be in any hurry. Show up to the read desk with a good, mental space. I mean, because I know it can be
Yeah.
scraping reads it can be kind of depressing at times. But
Yeah.
you don't want to sit there like, oh, I gotta make reads. I gotta make reads. Just make sure your ducks in a row. Properly select your cane. Sharpen your knives. Just simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
just do all because your read is 80% done once your gouge is done. Adjust your oboe before you make your reads. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you
Good
over
advice.
scrape in places because your pads are not sealing.
Yeah.
Have everything just lined up the way you want to have lined up. So those are
Yeah.
the things I want to really stress to the people that are on here.
Yeah. That is amazing. Thank you so much.
Of
Um,
course, of
yeah.
course. Hopefully that was helpful and
Oh,
making a
very.
read on the
Yeah.
spot here.
Yeah.
I know how that thing's gonna turn out, but it turned out
Yeah.
okay.
I know you said you could send me pictures, but I was thinking you could just send me the read and I'll take pictures.
Ah!
You know.
Hey, put it in the envelope. I'm gonna have to use that someday. I got some things coming up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make sure I get some good angles to it and have
Awesome.
everyone be able to like look at it and show them my finished reads so like and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah.
cool, cool. I
Well,
mean, well,
Titus,
this is a
yeah.
great platform and thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank
Sorry.
you so much for coming on. I learned so much and I know people watching did as well. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Take
All right, you
care.
take care.
Okay. Bye
Bye.
bye.